What's up guys, in this video I'm going to teach you how to use Valgrind, how to handle strings, and yeah, that's it. So let's start by talking about strings and how to handle them. So as we talked in the previous video, dynamic memory is very useful in the case that we want to have a variable with a different size during the execution. So for example, here we have declared our first variable, which is a pointer, which is this variable called string, but this variable isn't pointing anywhere. So yeah, now we are trying to print a pointer which is not pointing to anything. Like we are trying to print a place in memory in which there is nothing. So if we compile and we execute, I was wrong here, we have a segmentation fault. And what does this mean? A segmentation fault means that you are trying to access a place in memory in which you are not allowed to access. You haven't reserved that place in memory. For this reason, we have to reserve the place in memory. So here, for example, we are calling the function malloc, in which we are reserving the amount of memory, which is the length of the string hello plus 1. We are going to explain later why plus 1. And yeah, all this multiplied by the size of a character, which is 1. But if we execute now again, and we execute, well, if we compile and we execute, we see that now the message is printed. Like we don't have a segmentation fault. Why? Because now we are accessing a place in memory in which we are allowed to access. So yeah, this plus 1 means, well, it's used to add the end of a string character. So for example, now as this string is very small, now we haven't printed anything here because there is nothing in the string. But sometimes you have things in the strings, and if you don't set this end of a string character, you are going to print more than what you want. So if we compile and we execute again, now you see that it says length of hello, the string that we are printing, and it says the length. So if you check, hello has 4 words, but this is considered one character and is used, as I said before, to mark the end of the string. So yeah, that's why the function strlen, which is very useful to know the length of a string, says to us that we have 5 characters. But now let's imagine that we want to make the string bigger, that we want, for example, to add guys. So if we realloc, what we had to do is to first know the actual length of our string. This is why I'm using the function strlen here, because I want to know the length of my string. Then I want to know the length of what I'm going to add new. So for example, what I'm going to add is guys, the space and guys. So yeah, I want to know the length of that. And plus 1 because I want to add as well end of a string character. So yeah, all of this is multiplied by the size of a character. And if we concatenate, here this function strcat is to concatenate. It takes this and it concatenates all this. This function is very intelligent because when you try to concatenate this and this is before this, and it knows that, hey, you have between end of a string, but you want to concatenate. So what the function does is that it removes this and it concatenates all this. So if we execute this again, let's compile and let's execute, and we see that, hey, this is saying hello, space, guys, and it says that the length of the string is 10. So if we count the characters, we have 10. So for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I don't know if I said this right before, but the strlen function counts the chars that are before the end of the string. So for example, here there are 5 characters. I don't know why I was thinking there were 4, but for example, here there are 10 characters before the end of a string. And as I said before, the strcut function removes this end of a string and it adds this one. So yeah, and that's it. So for example, if we now try to compile and execute again, well, this is the last print, but you check that here we have used the free. So if we use Valgrind, in order to install Valgrind, you just have to use this command, which is sudo apt install Valgrind. Here it is. Let me make this bigger so you can see it better. Sudo apt install Valgrind. And yeah, in order to use it, we just put here Valgrind / well, not slash lick check equal full dot var in order to execute our program exe, and it says that 0 errors were detected, like everything is free. We did 3 allocs and we did 3 frees. But let's now remove this free. What will happen? We will have an error. And this is why Valgrind is so useful, because it tells us that, hey, hey, there is one error. Like here, it says that we lost some bytes because there are 3 allocs and 2 frees. So it's telling us that, hey, here you use a realloc, and after that realloc, you forgot to do a free. So Valgrind is pretty useful for that, because it tells you where the errors are at. And if you have a segmentation fault, you can also check that. So for example, if we try to execute in the same way as we did in the first time, we compile and now we execute with Valgrind, we see that we still have a segmentation fault, but it tells us where the error is. It tells us, hey, error calling peer set eraser vd at strlen. It knows that, hey, at some point you used strlen and you are trying to access a region that is not okay. Access not within mapped region at address 0.0. This is not mapped. This is not reserved for us. So yeah, that was everything. Valgrind is truly useful. Strings are a little bit tricky with dynamic memory, but once you get used to it and once you know all this stuff, it's very easy. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you understood how to use Valgrind, how to use the strings, and if so, give it a like, subscribe, and see you in the next one. Don't forget to go and check my website, in which I talk about trading and cryptocurrencies and all that stuff for a very cheap price.
Damn, Sosa. You going crazy.
Rest in peace, Cat, tranquilo, 666. Estoy bajando todo, lo siento. Te quedas sin nada. Rest in peace.